Okay, Kia, are you ready to go in your first steps? Yeah? Okay, let's try it. Come on. You got this. Oh, yeah. Come on, Kia. Go back in your spot. Go back in your spot. We have to start the review. Go. Go, Kia. Oh. Hurry up, hurry up. You join me here today with probably one of the first family-oriented and family-friendly electric vehicles on the market right now, the 2024 Kia EV9. Here we have it here in the top spec GT line, trim at around $77-ish thousand, though the EV9 can be had in a wide range of different options, all the way down into the mid $50,000 to $60,000 range, and with a lot of rebates and incentives on the market right now. And as of right now, at least of this filming in 2024, there are no competitors really to the EV9 in the United States market. There soon will be the Hyundai Ioniq 7, a kind of counterpart to this EV9 GT, but this thing's really impressive. It's comfortable, it's efficient, it has a lot of space, and it's a great alternative to the gas Kia Telluride. So I've been having a blast driving this EV9 over this past week, and let's go jump in and take a tour of why this EV9 is such a significant leap, not only for Kia, but for the EV market as a whole right now. So what's making this whole EV9 tick here? Well, underneath the skin is Hyundai Group's really fantastic eGMP electric vehicle modular architecture here. And here it's pretty much stretched to, I think it's almost maximum point here. It's almost like 200 inches long. It's a huge vehicle, and the wheelbase is also absolutely massive as well. And that also helps to fit that near 100 kilowatt hour battery pack under the floor of this EV9. Now, in total, it's pretty impressive. It's not the longest range EV9 you can get, but it is the highest battery pack you can get in the EV9, as well as the most power. It's making over 370 horsepower and over 500 pound-feet of torque, going to both front and rear wheels. There is rear-wheel drive options of the EV9 available. With this large pack, they can get quoted over 300 miles on the EPA range, but this one's still pretty solid at around 270 miles. If you do care about 0 to 60 times, you're going to be seeing 0 to 60 in around 4.5 seconds, which is still pretty significant. There is a hotter GT version coming as well down the road, and we can also tow up to 5,000 pounds. And yes, there is a frunk on this Kia EV9. It's a little bit tiny, but you do have a vehicle to load adapter right here, which you can use to kind of output the batteries charged through some other appliances. And I think in the future to charge your home as well. Let's go talk about charging now. Now, one glorious part of Hyundai and Kia's eGMP architecture is it uses an 800 volt system that can also be split to a 400 volt. So that really means you can charge on those two different voltages if you do need to. But that means if you can find a really fast charger, a 350 kilowatt fast charger, or even a 150 kilowatt fast charger, this thing can charge pretty quick. Today, I was able to charge, which our charge port here is located on our passenger side with a motorized door, from around 20% to 80% in 15 to 20 minutes. Which is crazy. I saw speeds of over 200 kilowatts, which is really impressive on the EV9, and I know it can do even better as well. You also have an 11 kilowatt onboard charger for AC charging at home, which is pretty much around the industry standard right now. That's not too bad. You'll see a full charge in like a few hours, but that's more on that level 2 charging state at home. We can see we have a nice charging port location here. I think it's good for accessibility. It's pushed really far to the back, though also not in a location where it could be compromised if you do get into an accident. That's pretty nice. And range numbers, I believe on the EPA side, are estimated around the 270-ish miles of range. Everyone on this particular high-end GT line have seen 240 to upwards of 300 miles of range, depending on their driving styles. This one also does have pretty large wheels at 21 inches, though we do have aero caps on them to kind of help with aerodynamics just a little bit. And if you were also curious, this weighs around, I think, a little bit over 800 pounds versus an equivalent Kia Telluride. Now, of course, we can't talk about a modern Kia product unless we talk about design, because that is one of their main staple points now. And this EV9 surely does look the part, if I can say the least. We have it here finished in this really bright ocean paint. There are a few different color options, as well as matte color options as well. But I'm going to say personally, I'm not too big of a fan of the front end of the design. I love the rest of it. We have this really interesting LED pattern here. I will have to say these LED lights are super, super bright at night, and they look really cool as well. If you don't get a matte paint option on regular paints, you get this really cool pattern here on the actual paint. So it's like these lights embedded into the paint here. You can change the pattern to about 5 or 6 different options from the infotainment system. This is a really cool one we have right here. And I have to say these lights themselves are fantastic at night. They just look a little bit funky on this front end. We have the nice big Kia badge up front here. And we also have this lower air dam area here, which actually opens and closes depending on if the battery needs cooling or if you need some more air conditioning going on. And as the style continues with the EV9s, also that moves over to the wheels as well. Every EV9 trim has funky looking wheels, and these are no exception here on the GT line. These are 21-inch wheels here, and they have this really interesting kind of plastic aero cover around it. You can feel it as plastic covering it around the wheels underneath, and we have this Kia badge right here. You can pop it off as well if you don't want that on, I think. And they're all meant to improve aerodynamics. We have Hankook EV-focused tires on here. I really no complaints with them as well. I haven't really noticed any kind of intrusion of noise coming from them whatsoever, so they're designed to be quiet, which is fantastic. The rear end of the Kia EV9 actually is my favorite piece of the entire design on this SUV. I just think it looks so cool. I love the kind of curved and smooth rear trunk area on the EV9. It looks really good. The Kia badge, the new one at least, looks really nice, I think. Well, they also have hidden the rear wiper up here, and it's actually a real working rear wiper. It's huge. I really love this taillight design. I think it looks something like an evolved like Volvo or Kia, I guess new Kia design. It's really cool. It's also a clear taillight design, which looks a little bit sporty, I would also say. Very clean lower bumper area. They didn't do anything crazy over here. We have a nice subtle GT line badging on the side over here. And I also like this rear spoiler here. You don't realize how sloped down this rear spoiler is here. And it's all meant for aerodynamics. It's curved and shaped in a way that's going to help to improve aerodynamic efficiency. My only one gripe back here is the rear camera mirror is placed in a terrible spot. You actually have to kind of clean it physically versus using like a sprayer nozzle within the button from the button in the interior. That third row and cargo space, and it really is, in the EV space specifically, really impressive. Rear cargo is a little bit tinier than a Telluride, but I think it's still really good. So there's a few ways to open the trunk on Kias. You can kick it, you can stand right next to it, and you can press the button. So I'm just going to do it from the key fob as well, and we're going to open up our power tailgate here. Pretty quick opening power tailgate operation, which is really fantastic. And now you can reveal, I think, around 20 cubic feet of space behind the third row. Fold all of your seats down. I think you get a little bit over 80 cubic feet of cargo space, which is pretty impressive. And this whole boxy shape of the SUV also really helps. Now back here we can see we have this nice little bag here, which is going to hide your charging cable for your level 2 charger at home if you do want to use something like that. So what are we going to do now in terms of folding our seats down? Well, to fold the third row down, you can pull these little straps here, which have a nice little Velcro bit to not be flopping around. Just pull this lever down and you can throw the seats down pretty easily. Same thing goes with this second side. So there's only 2 seats in our third row, but now you can see you have more space. Even with those second rows captain chairs up right now, you can get a bench over there if you do want it. And now to fold those second row seats down, you actually have buttons here, which I think is a great feature. So we can pop them down just like this, and they will start folding down fairly quickly, which is nice to unlock that full around 80-ish cubic feet of cargo space. Now, what about the second row of the Kia EV9? Well, we can see our pop-out door handles are open, opening up this absolutely massive door. You can thankfully see we have a really wide opening angle to kind of get people in and out. This one also has a $2,000-ish reclining luxury seating package for the second row that has this really cool cushion that comes up. You can sit back, recline, and really take up all of that space of this huge wheelbase. And these second row actually have some of the most biggest class-leading leg room and just general space in the area. I think it's bigger than, or almost a little bit around the same size as like an Escalade and a Range Rover as well. So really impressive here. So let's go check out how to get into that third row though, because I think that's still pretty impressive of a space in this EV9. So how do you get in the third row? Well, thankfully they made it very easily. There's a button right here. You just press this like this. It kind of does this little robotic action, and you can just walk in. There's a little bit of a step here. Thankfully the opening itself is huge. Let's go inside. Okay guys, inside the third row here in the EV9. I'm 6 feet tall. It's pretty generally spacious back here. As of right now, I have some leg room. Again, we saw the nice amenities back here: cup holders, USB-C port, speakers. We have some lights up here as well, so you don't feel cramped. But let's pull the seat back and see what actually happens. So thankfully, there's a button on the top here that's gonna. Oh no, this is where it gets a little scary. So the EV9 may have third row seats, but they're kind of cramped a little bit. This platform still needs to be stretched out, I think, a little bit longer to get the real usability out of this third row. As you can see here, I'm slightly a little cramped. I do have leg room a little bit. I have some foot room as well. The seats themselves are very comfortable, I have to say, but it's a little bit tight back here for full-size adults. And now my second row passenger in front of me is going to have less leg room because I'm sitting back here, which honestly, they still have a lot. They have way more than me. So that's one thing to be said. Okay, let's go take a quick tour of the interior here. As we saw, we have all these adjustments here, and those reclining seats, they don't really work, but they are a fun option, maybe for kids that work a little bit better. Okay, sitting in here, let's shut the door up. Nice solid thunk there. Again, we saw that manual sunshade over here, which is huge for this window. We have a little bit of a handle here. I love the heating and cooling operations of these second row seats. It's just fantastic to have. We have some nice ambient lighting throughout this entire interior from literally everywhere, which is great. I like the materials in here as well. A lot of nice recycled materials. Everything feels very well built. It's very solid in here. Really no quality issues whatsoever so far. I love this little storage cubby on the back. I also love how they put the USB-C ports right on the back of the seats here, because they know they're going to be used. And one of the most interesting kind of utility features back here, in addition to the flat floor and this nice open space to climb in and out of the third row, we have these really nice soft feeling armrests here, as well as a cushion style headrest in the second row seats. They're really nice second row seats. Big panoramic roof. We have our own climate controls back here, and then this fun feature here. Now, there's a reason why the USB-C ports are up here, and as well the cup holders up here. You have this entire like tray table that comes out here. Now, it looks like you have a table up here. You can extend it out even more, but if you kind of close it a little bit, you can also just open up this lower portion. Then you have this huge storage tray back here to kind of just shove things into. So I really love this use of space in the back of the Kia EV9. You can have it as a table, or you can close it up and just open it up as this kind of lower storage area as well, which is really fun and thoughtful. Definitely for kids back here, if they want to just kind of throw things in there or have like a little table to put something on, that's awesome. So I really love that design feature there for Kia. Again, we have some LED lighting back here as well, which is nice grab handles, really cool headliner as well. And we have air vents located right above you, which obviously is a great touch back here. Seats themselves, again, pretty comfortable. They can kind of recline with that lower seating portion area here. We have all those seat adjustments with all power over here. The usability of this piece here is questionable, but it is there. Otherwise, I think the seats have a little bit of a short front end where I think there could be a little better thigh support if this was not there. Otherwise, I think that's about it. Opening up the vehicle, you see the door handles pop out. We have our power folding mirrors. And then we have our pretty nice interior space. This is kind of gray theme with this contrasting white as well as black. And this is not leather, it's a synthetic vegan leather in here, which honestly is quite nice feeling. The materials in here are, again, nothing high quality or premium, but they feel really good. Everything's built so solidly in here. They've really impressed me on build quality in this Kia EV9. Everything feels great. No rattles, no creaks. Lots of usable controls here. You can see all the endless amounts of controls you have for this front seat as well. You also have this full reclining option as well. I love the GT line embossed into this material as well, and this interesting knit style headrest, which honestly is way more comfortable than I was expecting. Anyways, let's go hop inside. Again, and also a nice big opening up front here for the driver and front passenger. Sliding the door up, nice and solid. Our steering wheel comes down and presents itself to us, and we can power on the EV9 with the start stop button here. And you are welcomed to a nice startup chime. Now, like the rear, we have heated and ventilated seats. Now, we also have a 2-stage heated steering wheel, memory seats, and ergo motion seats. So this is kind of like a massage feature, but not really. It just kind of moves the air bladders around. Some storage over here, nice subtle trim going around. And there is ambient lighting throughout this entire interior, everywhere, and it's all adjustable. Thank you, Kia, for doing that. Now, I will say, I'm going to start off with the things I don't like on here, and there are a few. So I don't like the steering wheel, Kia. I don't know what you guys are doing with all these funky steering wheel designs. Everything else is nailed right, but this is just a little bit weird. It's very awkward, I think, to hold the steering wheel in some different positions. I think a design choice here by putting this plastic extending out to the trim here, it just feels really unusual, especially when you have this heated steering wheel on. This whole piece is like cold and the rest is hot. I don't really want to hold it up here because it feels strange. And I don't know. The design of this needs to, I think, be fixed. I love the button layout on here, though. So we have our drive modes here, 4-wheel drive lock, so we can lock the front and rear motors at lower speeds in certain conditions. We have regenerative braking paddles as well, which is really nice. We also have our modes to adjust our digital cluster up here, which is nice, as well as our fantastic highway driving assistant. And of course, all of our controls control our music and stuff from the infotainment system. Automatic headlights, automatic wipers, huge heads-up display, really fantastic quality on there. And I really do like this new infotainment system and screen layout from Kia. It's really gorgeous looking, as well as the just general interior design is very futuristic, forward thinking. I like all the button placements in here, except for this thing. This shifter has to be one of the worst things I think I've experienced in a modern vehicle. It's just terrible in the placement. It's hard to get to the start stop button. I sometimes want to reach through here. I just turned it off by accident. And then to turn it on, I have to do this awkward reach around thing. Even putting it in drive and reverse, you go forward for drive, back for reverse, push in for park. Okay, that's not that difficult, but it's just a weird placement. I feel like it should be up here like in a Mercedes or something, but hopefully they'll work on that going down the road. People may complain about it. Other than the steering wheel, we have an interesting kind of blend of physical and touch buttons in here. So in the center console area here, we actually have a fingerprint scanner, which you can assign your fingerprint to different profiles to turn on and off the vehicle, which is awesome. I love that. We have an auto hold button, a hill descent control, wonderful 360-degree view cameras and parking sensors. So our 360 camera shows up here. We have a cool 3D view where you can kind of go around the entire vehicle, which I really love these different views. They always work really well. And great parking sensors and camera systems on the EV9 as well. You have a whole bunch of different views you can go through as well. So they did a great job on that front over there. Now, we also have our climate controls, which are partially separated down here. What I don't actually like is how they put this climate screen here. So there's really 3 screens up here: your digital cluster, the climate screen, and then your infotainment screen. And I can't see it from the driver position. As you can see here from my eye level, this whole thing is blocked out. So I kind of have to reach around to kind of try to do any climate stuff. And I can't see it through the steering wheel as well. It's kind of dangerous while you're driving. So you can open up a fuller climate menu by pressing that button here to kind of get a little bit of a better sense of what's going on. But there's still a lot of controls in this little sub screen over here where you can turn on the driver only sync and a few other features. So this needs to be, I think, rethought out how it's placed, but I do like how they have a dedicated screen to climate controls in general. And the amount of cargo space and storage in here is just nuts. This opens up right here to reveal your 2 cup holders, which have like these little dividers here, which you can open and close if you do need to, which I love. I love how this opens and closes. It feels really nice, actually. It's like the soft touch material in here, as well as this cool ambient lighting everywhere. Then we have this absolutely massive storage space down here with some ambient lighting going around it under there, so you can put like a bag or something over there if you need to. And then the glove box itself is also really big. It opens down like this huge tray, and there's like another divider tray up there as well. So there's a lot. Felt lined, really nice. Feels really nice as well. We have a nice wireless charging mat right here, which has a nice little orange indicator that lets you know it's on, and it always works in like every position. I love how they designed this. It's also an NFC reader for, I believe, a digital key, which you can use here. You have a little bit of a storage cubby here. It's kind of tiny, but that's why you have all this other storage in the EV9. I also love how Hyundai, Kia, and Genesis all have this feature where you can move the passenger seat with these little buttons here. Very easy to do if you kind of have to maneuver this around. So that's a nice touch. And generally, I really do like this interior. It's ergonomically, generally, everything's very well, just other than this thing and this climate screen. Everything else I think is really fantastic. But we do have to talk about this infotainment system, because this is Hyundai and Kia's next generation of infotainment system, and they've fixed a lot of things that I had complaints with in the past. But you can see it's a totally new design and layout from Kia's previous infotainment systems, and I just love it. So this is our main screen we have right here. So our main screen is pretty nice. The infotainment system for the mapping, the built-in Kia system, is generally actually quite good. And if you want to precondition your battery, if you want to go to a charging station, you have to use the mapping. Otherwise, you can manually precondition it through the EV settings. And then I want to talk about this EV screen, because it's just awesome. I love EV information in vehicles, and Kia is doing it better than almost every other brand right now, other than like Tesla or someone. So you can see your battery status here. You can change your charge limit. It tells you your DC and or 800 volt and 400 volt split time. So that's pretty cool. We also see AC charger limits and times as well on 240 volt and 120 volt. Really, really cool. You can see your electricity settings for your vehicle to load settings. So if you want to like charge like a microwave or something, or camping gear from the EV9's battery, you can use that adapter to plug it into there to do that, as well as some EV charge scheduling stuff as well. Going back home, we can see we can swipe over here, and it almost reminds me of like an BMW iDrive style system. So we have all these different cards for our different settings here: phone projections, so like that wireless Apple CarPlay finally in Kia's, and I believe Android Auto. We have some seating control, so I can actually control the heating and ventilation of the second row seats, which is so cool. And I can fold and unfold them up and down as well, which is nice. Now, the other fun thing to kind of play around with in here is the lights in here. So there's a lot of interesting lighting controls. So I go to lights here, and we can change the front pattern of the EV9's lights. So as I mentioned before, you can select through all of these different settings to change that front little lighting design pattern on the EV9. I think that's such a cool thing to do. It really enhances, I think, the customizability of the vehicle. So how do you drive the Kia EV9? And honestly, this is what I really want to make this whole video about, is just how do you drive this vehicle. Hyundai and Kia EVs have so many interesting and unique features that I don't often see in other EV products, especially that Bolt over there. And that really has to especially do with the regenerative capabilities here. So right now, if you see these paddle shifters here, I'm in coasting. So I'm on level 0 regen, which means I'm just coasting along here, which is pretty nice. I can just coast along, not use any battery. This is a great way to drive, I think, on a highway in some situations, or if you really just want to be as efficient as possible. That's what you want to do. Now with the paddle shifters here, you can start increasing levels of regen. So now I'm on level 1. You're going to start feeling that pull back a little bit. Now we're on level 2, gets a little more intense. Level 3 definitely starts feeling like we're stopping now, and then all the way on to one pedal drive or max regen mode. So now by putting the pedals all the way to the left here, we're going to be in one pedal drive mode. So I'm just using the gas, or I guess the accelerator pedal, to move. I let it off and it starts regenning. You can see our charge indicator there, which is really nice. Now I'm going to put it back to 0, for example, right? The fun thing you could do is, regardless whatever of the mode it's in, obviously not in one pedal drive mode, if you hold the left paddle, you can come to a full stop. Check this out. I didn't touch the brake at all, and we just come to a full stop, and it will fully stop the vehicle if you do put it into that, I'll just let it keep going. It will actually say stop on the dashboard there, which is a really cool touch. So really fun regenerative capabilities here on the EV9. It's really fun to play with around, and you also have an auto mode as well, which I always forget how to access sometimes, but you can also put it into an automatic mode as well. So I love playing around with that regenerative braking capability on the EV9, and it's good because you're just gaining electricity right back into your battery pack. And I love the amount of information Kia does give you on the infotainment screen about what's happening with your battery system. It's an EV. I want to see all this information. So we have almost 400 horsepower in this EV9 and over 500 pound-feet of torque, so it definitely gets up and goes, and there is a GT version coming too. So let's see how we can get up acceleration here. Oh! And we're at 60, and we lost a little bit of traction there on the front tires, it felt like, with traction control on, so you can definitely feel the torque on the EV9. It's definitely intense. And again, you can pop on our regen levels, go all the way back down to a safer speed. We have some construction, it looks like, going on over here. And this is a great place to kind of test out another fantastic feature about the EV9. You know, at the end of the day, this is a family vehicle. Obviously, you have all this space in here. You're going to be wanting to hauling your kids around, cargo space around. You can throw some adults all the way in the back as well. And especially on road trips, this thing's honestly pretty efficient, and it has one of the best highway driving assistance systems, I think, on the market right now. So what we have here is obviously adaptive cruise control. We have those really fantastic cameras that pop up when you put your indicators on. You have loads and loads and loads and loads of safety systems here, and this Hyundai and Kia's Highway Driving Assistant HDA is now in its 2.0 level, and in this particular new level here, it is incredibly good. It's almost on the levels of something like a Super Cruise or Blue Cruise, and honestly, I think it's a little bit better in some scenarios. So I can just pop it on like this. So right now, it actually will not go into full Highway Driving Assistant mode, just because we're not on a highway that's multi-lane. We're only on a 2-lane little highway here. So the second we go onto a multi-lane highway, it will pop on HDA, and you'll see that indicator up there as well, which is a nice touch. But right now, we're just in the regular Smart Cruise Control Assistant here, which is also a fantastic feature. And over bumps, I think it soaks things up pretty well. I really don't feel any harsh motions coming into the cabin. Honestly, if I didn't know, you would honestly think this might have even an air suspension. It feels that good at kind of just gliding across the highways. It feels very cloud-like, very luxurious-like, and that's something I could not say about I guess the Telluride, for example, an in-house gas competitor from Kia, and I just really did not like how that thing drove whatsoever. This has obviously a much better body control. Still, there's a lot of roll and body roll in here. It's a softer sprung vehicle, even though it has that lower center of gravity battery pack. That's going to help you to have a little bit more of a planted feeling going around corners. You still feel that roll coming in here, as it is a very tall, almost 6,000 pound SUV at the end of the day. So now we're out here on the open highway. I'm going to turn on HDA, and it's on. So HDA will say it up there as well as in your digital cluster. And what Highway Driving Assist really does, it's using all of its radar sensors, ultrasonic sensors, cameras, and everything to give you that full highway driving assistant. It turns on the steering assistant. You have the little bit steering wheel that pops up there. It's gonna in green let you know that it's essentially steering for itself. It follows the curves, it knows all the vehicles around you, and you can adjust your speed very easily with this button on the left hand side. It'll pop up on both screens. And one of my favorite things is that like a Tesla, I guess, autopilot or full self-driving beta, whatever, it shows all the vehicles around you. It knows there's vehicles all around you, and it's demonstrating that in the infotainment system with all these little boxes moving around the vehicle. Now, I'm pretty sure there is not any sort of eye tracking information on the EV9, which is why I guess you legally cannot really take your hands off the wheel at all times. EV9's pretty good on the highway. It's pretty efficient, has fun regenerative capabilities, but how is it around town like we're here right now? So I think this is where the EV9's also pretty efficient. This is also where I think EVs themselves are really good. I think EVs are even better sometimes even in city conditions than on highway conditions, because on highway conditions EVs tend to sometimes not do as good just because of the range. Yes, it can be good if they're coasting sometimes, but on the highways you still have to use that motor, and that's going to be kind of reducing range a little bit. Around town, on the other hand, you have a lot more abilities to just coast around because you're traveling at lower speeds, you're in and out of traffic, and this is where I think the regen even becomes even more fun on the EV9. Pop it back into sport mode. You do have that customizable My Drive mode as well. I actually tend to drive it around in eco the most. I think that's going to get you some of the best efficiency you can get. The throttle pedal is a little bit, or its accelerated pedal is a little bit squishy in eco mode, but you are going to get good efficiency. In sport mode here, definitely kicks things up to gear, and there is a boost mode, I believe, kind of built into the system that will bump up the power and torque just a little bit for a short period of time. So that's fun. But this is not, you know, meant to be a sporting SUV. It's a family hauler. It's comfortable, it's quiet, it has loads of luxury and cargo and utility features. And at the end of the day, it's meant to be that. Though it does pack that power. If you do want to have a little bit of a punch, you can kick it off the line and it can do that. Oh, still has a nice punch to it. And that sound that Kia has implemented in here sounds pretty cool. We'll pop it back into eco mode on the highway here. Yeah, it's just been a really good, smooth, easy EV to drive around. Very smooth EV powertrain. One of the best, I have to say right now. Fantastic charging. You can charge really quick if you find a capable charging station. And I have to say, this EV9 is almost, I would say, a benchmark in terms of just what it is in the market. There really is no competition for the EV9 right now directly. So it's definitely a step up from something like a Model Y if you want more space, especially with a third row. You can get the 7-passenger option. This is the 6-passenger option, of course. And if you really want to weight something, if you're kind of having some doubts with the EV9, stay tuned for the upcoming Ioniq 7 from Hyundai. That's basically going to be the sister car with even more improvements and a little bit of a different design language as well. Anyways, guys, thank you for joining me on Allcarnews, and as always, stay tuned for more coming soon. And I hope you guys enjoyed this POV drive and impressions of the Kia EV9. Cheers.